Alright, hello everyone, and now we're going to be doing the cool stuff, okay? So now we know how to organize our website, how to divide it, how to add class names and make things much more general. And instead of duplicating code and writing it for each single element, we now just write container and then write some styles, and it takes place in all what's inside this division, alright? And if you don't get this, try to think of it as a parent-child. So the parent gives its children all its attributes or all its styles and so on. This is a grandparent and this is a parent and these are the children. And to this, these are grandchildren's. Think of it however it's easy, but it's a really nice concept and it's actually really useful in web design. Alright, so let's agree here for our website that all containers are going to be the boxes for our website. So whenever we want to add a section of our website, we're going to put some attributes for it so that our website is consistent. Okay, so this is a container, for example, and I'm going to name it this. Okay, so let's start to organize our website. So right now it doesn't really look like a website, so let's organize it. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, so there's a concept in CSS called Flex. All right, so Flex is kind of an architecture for CSS to organize your website into a grid. Okay, so think of your website as a grid. You can divide it into columns and rows, and yeah, it's a grid. Okay, and the trick in this grid is that it makes your website responsive. So if someone opens your website from a mobile phone, it doesn't gonna be looking ugly. It's actually gonna organize itself to fit inside the screen that the website is opened from. Okay, and we're gonna see some actually use cases for that. So display flex, and then we want to say that the direction of your website is rows. So it can be row or column. So your website is not columns, we want it rows, okay? So in this case it's column by default, but we want it row, okay? So if you refresh this, now it looks in rows. Everything is in rows, and that's actually great, right? So what if we want to put all the website to be in the middle, okay? So all websites are usually centered in the middle. So let's do this, all right? Maybe your website is just on the left side, so you can do that. But I want to make it in the middle. So to do this, we're going to say justify content, which means the content of this container, we want it to be in the center. All right. It could be also the start. By default, it says start. We can also have it at end, but we want it in the middle. So center. And if you refresh, all your website is now in the middle. However, the text itself is still left aligned. So to change this, we're going to say text align, so the text, not the content. There's a difference between the text and the content. So this is content, okay? This as a div, as a division, it's a content. But the text itself, we have to say, explicitly say, we want it centered. Okay, by default it's left, but we could also have it right. So if we make it right, it now looks at the right. But now we want to make it center, so now it looks nice, right? But we want this underneath. So to do this, there is a special small trick, which is BR. BR is basically break, which means like make a new line, right? So if we save this, sorry, and we refresh, sorry, it didn't take place. Yeah, we can do this in a different way because this is a P and P's. Anyway, I'm gonna get to this later. But for now, let's leave it like this, just to explain the concept of Flexbox. So think of it as a box, okay? It's rows, not columns. And justify content, we want it centered. We don't want it at the beginning or we don't want it at the end. We want it in the middle. And we want the text inside to be centered, okay? Now, it kind of looks all close to each other. So let's add, for the items, something called padding. So padding is kind of like spacing inside an element, like inside a container. So padding, and then let's add like 30 pixels or something. As you can see, it kind of has like more space right now. Let's actually add some more. Let's make it 50. Now the website's actually starting to look nice, right? And we just need to put some colors and some styling, and it's going to look like a website, right? And we could also change fonts. We can also do that. So, see you in the next one. We're going to do some